their 2021 World Championship match. There was a really fascinating battle there where Magnus ultimately, after maybe a slight disadvantage in the opening as black, did turn things around a bit later. But, okay, Jan brings his bishop out. This is known to be the most ambitious way to play with white. You pin the black knight and basically ask the opponent to come at you. Pawn to g5 is objectively maybe the best idea now or on the next few moves for black, but Magnus doesn't really like weakening himself in such a committal manner. So I think great psychology, great choice by Jan Nepomniachtchi here, forcing Magnus to think early.
And perhaps provoking him into those imbalances that would happen if Magnus overexpands on the king side. He denies it for right now, but also notice how he's delaying his own short castle. So he keeps the option of g5 in the air. He keeps that threat. And right now, he also wants to plant the light squared bishop to offer a trade to that Italian bishop on c4. Bishop to e6. If it's traded, the queen can recapture, unpinning itself.
And in the meantime, Jan Nepomniachtchi gains space on the queen side with tempo. Here, massive threat, of course, to catch the black bishop. That would be a trap. So the blue arrow appears yet again, saying black should fight for space. Of course, Magnus does indeed challenge the white queenside structure, but now a bit of a loss of time. Black's going back in order to go forward. The e6 square may be a launch pad for either the light squared bishop or the knight right now. And, okay, this is shaping up to be a really tense battle. All pieces, all pawns still on the board. And Magnus jumps forward with his knight.
He jumps forward and he's also clearing the path for his king to perhaps at some moment go castling on the queen side, which would allow that g-pawn moving forward twice with tempo, the h-pawn joining the attack, and it just comes with a lot of power play because if we notice on the left side, there's already been a bit of a closed pawn formation. Getting an attack, getting a break is not easy for white there. Magnus's king might find safety on that side of the board.
Okay, prediction time. I was going to say, where are the kings going? White's king is committed.
I think queen side. I would say queen side.
Queen side. Queen side for Magnus here, of course. I mean, because you can go bishop d7 and g5, knight h5, knight f4 stuff. You even go f5 after you castle queen side. You can literally see the potential for a very big attack for Magnus here after bishop d7, g5, knight h5. One of the knights go to f4. You may not even need to castle yet. Obviously, you know, it's probably good to castle, but it's very nice. It's very quick. It can happen like this. And knight on e6 is, I'm not used to seeing here so quickly. So this is why it really stands out to go for this idea.
Do you think something has gone off in Magnus's head here? He's saying, okay, castling kingside, the white king now has pretty much set out its stall and is begging to be attacked. It's like a red rag to a bull, right? You castle, allowing a pawn storm like this. Look at the eval bar, everyone.
He's about to do it. Ooh. You can tell he has hesitation. He doesn't play like that, you know, but he's like, I got to do it. You're right, David.
Yeah, apparently a massive advantage for black already.
I think it's going to be on the board. Magnus will play this. He can go all solid, getting his king to the king side right now, but we'll know about his ambition with the black pieces if he touches and moves that g-pawn 2 steps ahead. And that will be fire on the board, because Magnus Carlsen will be on the attack.
Eye tracker, he's looking at that side of the board. He brings his knight in instead. And, yeah, he's getting ready. He's not committed yet. But, okay, a flank attack incoming. The advice is to fight back in the center. That's what Jan Nepomniachtchi is trying to do, but there's no threats. Black has the e5 stronghold nicely protected. This must be it. It's now or never. Magnus, is he going to go for the pawn storm, push the g-pawn, maybe push the h-pawn? Maybe the bishop's going to come out with a pin.
Hesitation. He's thinking about it.
I think he's reaching for the bishop.
Bishop g4. Okay.
Then he clears the way for the black king to get to safety on the left side. So he's still hinting at g5 and now pinning that knight to the white queen, putting more pressure on that central pawn that has just moved forward. So asking questions to Jan, some big questions to answer, problematic ones. What is your decision with the d4 pawn?
Oof. Despite the fact this is a long match, a 6-game match, a loss with white here would be really, really disastrous for Jan Nepomniachtchi. It is a risky opening. I actually praise his opening choice, but for white, the fact that your bishop is standing out on h4, the dark squared bishop, it's a bit of a target. It's basically a provocation to the opponent, and Magnus clearly has studied this in a lot of detail. It's backfired in Nepomniachtchi's opening.
And it looks like a beautiful position for black as well, right? Your pieces are out. That juicy square on f4 already captured by the black knight. Jan, meanwhile, lays a battery on the diagonal with the bishop and the queen, eyeing the f7 pawn, saying that at least you have to calculate. If you go long castle, the f7 weakness, but it does open up files, and Magnus Carlsen doesn't care. He wants those open lines upon sacrifice.
Wow, he barely even blinked. He's like, okay, I'm not even going to calculate taking that pawn. Neither side calculating bishop takes on f7 there. I think the bishop actually would have been trapped behind enemy lines. But now the pawn advances, Magnus going on the attack.
This is looking very scary for white. I mean, where is the attack on Magnus's king? There are no breaks, no open lines to get to. Meanwhile, for Magnus, you can look at the other knight joining the party from h5. You're looking at the h-pawn moving forward as well. I'm not liking Jan's chances here. With the white pieces, this is not the opening outcome you want.
I'm trying to figure out the best move. It might be h5. That's crazy, though. I mean, you are taking on g5, but my idea is h4. Bishop f4 takes. You can take on f7. Bishop opens up. But he doesn't like playing like that. So, and probably there's something better. If you get h5 in, this could be like GG. So maybe work d to g to prepare h5. Bishop f7, rook g7, and then go h5. Yeah, possible.
So many ideas. That's the thing. That's the one kind of hazard here for Magnus is he has so many tempting moves. He might well burn a bit more time on the clock deciding among those temptations. But usually when Magnus attacks, he likes to do it without too many sacrifices. He doesn't want to totally gamble and burn the bridges. There we go. He plays it safe. He retreats his bishop, getting out of the way of his own g-pawn. He also defends his own f-pawn in the process, but getting in the way of his knight. I'm very surprised at that. There was a frown from Jan Nepomniachtchi who retreats his bishop.
Yeah, bishop f1 is nice because his idea now is like, okay, cool, you're not pushing up on me like that on the side, on the king side. He wants to go c4, c5 at some point.
Okay, Magnus takes a timeout to improve his king, shuffle the black king towards the corner. They do say if you castle long, castle queenside, then you should always take a timeout. The corner is the safest place for the king, but this is very time-consuming, this last move. I don't really see what black's next move is, how to continue the attack. So, okay, any ideas what white could be playing? The desirable move is knight to c4, but this knight is currently defending its fellow knight on f3 from
c4, though. Is that a move?
Ooh, c4.
c4 is possible. And then c5 and then de.
Then you're looking at a pawn sacrifice in the middle of the board, right? It weakens the d4 pawn and takes away the pressure from getting c5 in.
Yeah, and I was thinking e5 there, but it is giving up a pawn there. c4, de, and then e5. de, knight e5. My queen is not activated anymore on that diagonal. It's hard to break through. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to break through.
But also for Magnus, right, with the bishop that's just gone on h5, you don't have knight jumps on that square. You're not expanding that h-pawn. Whenever you push g4, white's piece will jump over to h4 and start eyeing the f5 square. So for now, Magnus's kingside attack has also been halted.
Yeah, but Magnus is just playing that kind of trademark brand of chess that he has been exhibiting for so long. Okay, knight c4. I was going to say, just bring all the pieces to the party. Just improve all your pieces and let the tactics fall into place later.
He allows bishop takes knight, and now the pawn formation on the king's side has been ruined. White has a beautiful bishop on f1, defending everything, but I can imagine a future h5, h4, forcing that bishop to capture on f4 and opening up the g line.
Yeah, that would be the attacking way to do it. Magnus first pins the white knight, preventing a capture of the black bishop. So the white knight is pinned. Also, if we remember Capablanca, this bishop on g3, he once made it look really silly in this pawn structure. If the black knight ever moves away, the bishop on g3 is actually trapped for eternity. It can never really re-enter the battle. So, yeah, this is a really tense position. Black, we see, has the advantage on the eval bar, but, of course, anything could happen if the center ever explodes.
Push that h-pawn. It feels like the most natural move in this position. He reaches out, he does it. It's not stopping there. h4 is coming in, forcing that opening up of the g line. And imagine once that happens and you're able to double up with your queen, you're looking at all kinds of checkmating possibilities.
Oh, it does look terrifying. Jan has to shuffle his king into the corner now or on the next couple of moves. The g-file is about to blow open. Oh, and it doesn't really help. Taking this black bishop off the board, the black king is actually super safe, hiding out on the a7 square, no matter what. That pawn structure for black is super safe. No open lines towards the black king, whereas for the white king, very much there will be open lines. That is a guarantee at this point. Knight to e3, given a question mark, very understandable move. He wants to plant a knight on f5, at least stop the black queen from coming in. But maybe it's just too slow. Maybe continue with your plan, Tanya.
Yeah, I'd love to see that on the board because, yes, you get your knight to f5, but that's not a great defender there because all the squares close to the king, the g3 square, will be covered by Magnus's pawns. And I'm not understanding how do you keep everything together on the king side after the very natural h4. Magnus has other very appealing possibilities here as well. He can think about preparing it, get that rook to g8 before jumping in with h4. It's just very pleasant. And let's not forget, Jan loves these kind of positions to be black in. He wants to be on the attack. He wants to be on the initiative. He's not someone who's enjoying defending this king side that we've got with destroyed pawn formation, the king in the open, not looking good, but our arena looking very good.
There we go, a sneak peek behind the scenes of our arena. The fans watching. Hello, everyone. Hello, Oslo. They look like they're enjoying the chess. I love the different colours there, I've got to say.
I do like the colors. That's not how I'm like.
And it's a colourful position on the board too. But yeah, in honour of Rubik's, maybe that colourful, but not in Jan's favour. Magnus about to go for it. He opens up the centre. This is not desirable strategically for black, because white has the bishops, after all, a frown from Jan Nepomniachtchi, but there must be a concrete reason, a specific reason for Magnus choosing this. What is it? Is it due to the fact that maybe pawns will be weak? The black queen now open. A bit of a mysterious one by Magnus.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it felt like the flow on the king side, James, was so easy. Just go on, open the G line, target the king. What ideas? You're the tactic Jedi here. What are the ideas that Magnus has in mind?
H4? I mean, h4 is nice, though. h4. I also want to play something like knight h3, maybe a knight takes e4. Something like that is possible, but...
Jan has to capture on
Correct, he has to
d4.
capture first.
Why is he thinking right now?
He has to capture and then g4, h4.
I think he's just so shocked at that move. It's counterintuitive to break the center open when black had such control. But yeah, maybe it's a bit of panic. Maybe it is calculating those variations there, knight jumping in with a check, or some way of trying to trap that white dark squared bishop. Actually, yeah, the knight to h3 check. The bishop is pretty much trapped on g3. I don't really see a way to save it. So Jan panicking. But like you say, Tanya, sometimes there are just no options. Rather than spending, what is it, 1 minute 20 now on this move, you just got to play, deal with the consequences, and yeah, try to find something a bit later. Instead, he jumps with his knight. But now Magnus is up material and with the attack.
Exactly. I mean, you're the one who wants at least an extra pawn or two to allow black to get this kind of a position, but it's Magnus with the black pieces on the initiative, up on the material, and still ideas of h4 in the air. No attack on the black king. That bishop on b6, a brilliant attacker, but also a really cool defender. Defending a5 and c7 points. Magnus reroutes the knight to the squares that have been opened up. Also, sneakily, that queen will transfer to g6 once the g line opens up, threatening checkmates. Knight d7, a very clever move. All threats in the air.
Yeah, it feels like Magnus is trying to win this in the style that he said Ding was using in the World Championship. Just minimal calculation, just put pieces on good squares. If the knight ever lands on e5, that is a square that can never be challenged. That's a permanent outpost. I just want to mention as well for everyone at home, knight to g7 looks like a fork. Firstly, black's just going to give up material most likely, but if you want to save your queen and your rook at the same time, you can simply move your queen forward, attacking the white queen, and if there's a trade, you recapture with the black rook, the white knight will be left looking silly on the g7 square. So not a huge threat, not a very scary idea here. And yeah, Magnus playing in his 5th consecutive CCT finals. It looks like this is just his tournament. This is just his stomping ground.
He's such a big stage player, right? Finds always the ability to bring out his best, you know, under pressure, when fighting for these big moments, playing in front of the home crowd. He's been critical about his form so far, but today I think it's going to be hard even for Magnus to find fault in his play. He first tries to trade the queens off the board. You take it on Magnus's terms. The knight jumps to the center of the board. Watch out for that f3 weakness. No time to capture anything. Queen takes queen, knight takes queen. Looks extremely powerful to me. Jan ending up in this position on move 26 with the white pieces. Oof. This is turning out to be very one-sided.
Yeah, then again, if Jan saves this, he'll feel like he's invincible, or he'll feel like he's back and has been given a second chance. So these next few moves are critical. It does feel like Jan's stabilized somewhat. He's stopped his dark square bishop getting trapped. The white knight does look more and more pretty by the moment. It looks like it's on a really nice safe square. And Magnus might start getting frustrated. He knows he has a massive advantage. He knows he's winning. But the longer the game goes on without a breakthrough, the more this could turn. He moves his queen. He's clearing the path for that black knight on d7 to jump into the center.
And also watch out, that queen can further penetrate into white's position from that a3 square, eyeing all the pawns on the board, on the left side, on the right side. Combine that with the knight on e5, knight on f4. I don't care if the computer says there was something more accurate for Magnus to convert his advantage, but everything he's done, it just looks incredibly dangerous for white.
Where do you go, rook c1?
There
Rook
we go.
c1 hits the queen.
Oh, that was a nice intermezzo, a nice intermediate move there. Zwischenzug. Black's knight came in.
Shake? What is this a head shake or? Ooh, f3.
Queen a3 on the board.
So many threats now. Black's knight is threatening to capture a pawn with a check. Black's queen is just trying to gobble up the whole queen side. Oh, Jan defends everything for now, but there are some knight forks in the air. The two white rooks are on the same circuit for the black knights.
Yeah, knight d3 just picks up big material on the board, right? He doesn't even want it. He just wants his rooks into the game, eyeing that white queen, rook on d8. And Jan, he's feeling the pressure. You know, he's twirling the pieces, but the pieces on the board are about to fall apart.
This is just a terrible position. All my pieces are clamped down as white here. Can't do anything. I mean, I don't have any targets. What do you even play? Bishop takes f4, maybe to start, to get rid of something. Pawn
Barely
takes.
move.
Takes, queen c2, knight f3. There's rook e8 in there.
Everything looks like it's winning right now. The black queen, the black knights, they're so active. Loose pieces do drop off, so as you pointed out there, James, the only black piece that's misplaced is that rook that Magnus moves. He's not calculating anything. He's just improving his pieces constantly and waiting for the tactics to fall in his favor.
Rook d2 is coming too.
And he didn't even have to go around to pick up Jan's exchange. Jan was forced to give up his rook for that knight because the f3 pawn was hanging. And now that's a lot of material, an extra pawn, an extra exchange, and beautiful pieces against the white king. Look at the way Jan's bishops are shut off. That bishop on g3, bishop on g2. No play. Denied game.
Oof, I think we're going to see a handshake in the next few moves, next few minutes. Magnus now has a very pleasant choice to make. The white knight is trying to jump over towards the c4 square with a family fork, hitting the black queen, but there we go. It is removed. Magnus gives back some of the material. But, of course, he's going to emerge with a two-pawn advantage and an ongoing attack. The black rook trying to land on the second rank. Oh, this looks over. How to fight on?
Yeah, you don't. In fact, this is nothing. The bishops are terrible. Even if my bishop was good, I don't have any targets. c7 is locked down pretty nicely. Rook e1, that's very good. You can do knight takes g2, whatever you want. Do anything.
And white's rook needs to stay on the first rank. There are checkmating ideas on g1 that white has to watch out for. Just everything in the position has gone wrong for Jan. He's down on the material.
Great.
He's about to be down that king on h2. You know, black just lined up beautifully. Every single piece placed to perfection. There are ideas of taking on h4.
I don't have any
Take
moves.
on g2. Pick up material on h4.
On g5, maybe throw an h4. You can do anything. This is crazy because I have no moves. Yeah, he threw an h4 there, which is brilliant, but
You take that pawn, knight takes bishop, and the bishop falls.
takes check, king h1, and h3, and resignation.
I think this is over. This is over for Jan.
We're going to see one or two last moves. Magnus's queen moves in. A pawn deflects the light squared bishop away. There will be a capture now.
Rook e2 is nice.
Oh, there we go. It's a double attack, and Magnus takes a second win. He goes 2 points to 0 up in the Champions Chess Tour Finals.
Yeah, Jan didn't even have a chance there, Kanye. That's crazy.
And this time there was no analysis post-game. Jan immediately gets up and leaves. He's down 2-0 in the final, and it's sort of been his games to give. He's gotten into trouble early on, made those big mistakes with the white pieces. We saw what happened here in the previous game, missing that opportunity to equalize. And Magnus Carlsen looking chill as ever, 2-2 lead, needs only 3.5 for the championship.
Yeah, 1.5 points. I mean, he's dominating right now. This is crazy. A different Magnus came today. Jan is not able to get on the board. I mean, we've got to stop the bleeding with at least a draw here. As we see 2-0 from Magnus Carlsen, and he gets right in the next game where Jan needs to stop the bleeding here, or else this could be over very quickly, guys.
Yeah, and it's such fine margins here at the top level in chess. Magnus, he's of course brought his best chess, but Jan, just one small mistake in the first game, got ground down in an ending. And here, it was just the opening. I mean, there was no way back.
Nothing.
2 or 3 small moves, 2 or 3 small inaccuracies. And Magnus just punished him so brutally there. I mean, poor Jan. He hasn't done too much wrong, but this is just top-class Magnus.
I mean, in game 2, it felt like after 15 moves, White was just worse. Out of an Italian. That's not normal at all, right? And Magnus never gave him a chance to bounce back. He just made it look so incredibly easy. I don't know, it's going to be very, very tough for Jan now to make a comeback in this match. You know, you're down 2-0. You've lost the way he just did with the white pieces. I don't know, James, what has he got to do to make a comeback in this match?
Well, Jan is, I mean, of course, we're all known to tilt, but Jan definitely is known to tilt, especially online too as well, or like you just know, when he loses one game, okay, he loses the second game in a row, then he starts to actually tilt. We've seen this before. In fact, the game 6 of the World Championship, he cracked immediately after the 6th game, and that was it. And then he just lost the match from there. So it's tough. You have to bounce back by, you know, hey, just breathe, play my best game, and maybe switch it up my opening choices too as well. It's hard to even tell. I mean, I've lost with white, I've lost with black. I got to play black again. It's very difficult here. But, of course, Game 3 is coming up. But first, we got Chess.com is thrilled to support the following game changer, Chess Up. Let's go. The record-breaking company taking the gaming world by storm with their brand new Chess Up 2. This physical electronic board syncs to your Chess.com rated games, which you can then save and analyze on Chess.com. With built-in Wi-Fi, a touchscreen, and TouchSense pieces, Chess Up 2 supports beginning players, players in training, and casual games between friends and family. For a limited time, save